Hello guys and welcome to another video. Welcome to our monthly reading session of Bad Percy Jackson fanfic. This week we are about to read another great one and I just had to pick it. Look at the cover and the title of this beautiful masterpiece is The Demons in Disguise, Percy Jackson fanfiction. Percy starts reading the Bible and becomes Christian. How do the rest of the demigods and gods react? Information. Percy is Christian, no bad language, and the gods are demons and bad angels, explained later in the books. Let's dive right in. I think this one needs no further introduction. So first, a message from the author. Hi, none of these characters belong to me. If you read this, I really want to thank you. I did this because I saw how little of these ideas exist. Shout out to @JesusIsAlive for inspiration. Thank you for checking this book out, because I don't expect many to. Thanks anyway. Don't worry, we're all checking out your book right now. The war with Gaia was over. I couldn't be happier. Annabeth was my girlfriend. No one died. Leo came back with Calypso. ... To think I almost caused the end of the world with a nosebleed. I mean, they could have made it more dramatic, but whatever. Slight shade to Blood of Olympus. I ran to my cabin and flopped on the bed, staring at the bed above me. Bunk beds. I just stared and thought, we won again and again and again. I jerked my eyes off the bed above me and looked around and saw a book, which I knew wasn't there before, on my bedside table. I sat up and took it. It wasn't a normal book. It was thicker, even thicker than the Chronicles of Narnia series. I doubt Percy has read that. It had this leather-coated cover with a rusty gold-colored cross on it. It had beautiful patterns on it too. A picture of a Bible. I opened it and saw a huge text. The text was in 2 rows, next to each other, with a large Genesis written on top. I looked at it and flipped through the contents. There were a few books that popped out to me. The Genesis, Esther, Job, Proverbs, and Daniel, from the contents of the Old Testament. From the New Testament, the Matthew, Galatians, Romans, and Ephesians attracted my eyes the most. Why? Why would those things... Okay, let's not get hung up on the details because I feel like we might go crazy before we finish this. The Ephesians got my attention the most, so I started reading it. The Ephesians chapter, book, or whatever it was, there were 6 chapters in the book, in the Bible, as it was named in the very first page. I started reading the first 2 chapters, and took notes in a notebook which was empty. Somehow it was English, but my dyslexia didn't stop me, neither did my ADHD. I finished and looked at my notes. As a child of God, I am blessed, I am chosen, I am adopted, I am redeemed, I am forgiven, I am sealed, I am loved, I am saved. I like this list. And it was all in those 2 chapters. I thought that maybe I should start reading Genesis and get to know this God better. He is much better than the ones here. These idiots I keep saving are arrogant, power-thirsty mortals. I'm starting to question if they're actually who they are. I feel like before I continue reading this, I do have to give a little disclaimer. I am Christian, so I'm not making fun of Christianity. I'm just making fun of this fanfic. Okay, let's move on. Chapter 2, Back Home. I was pacing my room, thinking of what I should do. I know this might sound weird, but I'm thinking of breaking up with Annabeth and cutting all my connection with the demigods and the gods. I needed time to figure out my feelings. I just couldn't walk up to Annabeth and break up with her. It would hurt to see her reaction, so instead I wrote a letter to a few friends. Dear Annabeth, I'm sorry, no matter how much it hurts, I need to break up with you. I started reading the Bible, and I'm thinking of breaking off all my contacts with you guys. Don't be mad, I just need time to sort myself out. Thank you, maybe we'll be able to get back together once I do. I'm a Christian now, and I'm proud to say so, Percy. And then, Dear Nico, Talia, and just the 7, which includes himself and Annabeth, so it's kind of weird to refer to them as the 7. This is more of a goodbye than a random letter. I'm sorry, but I just need time to think things through. Please don't contact me or see me. Please tell the gods I'm breaking all connections with them until I choose to come back. If it were that easy, he would have written this note years ago. I'll miss you, and Talia, don't be mad for me breaking up with Annabeth. I just need time alone. I'm a Christian now, and I'm starting to think through my religion of the Greek gods through. Please understand. Please don't come looking for me or telling the gods. They'll not like it, but I need alone time. Thanks, Percy. And don't worry, there's another one. Dear Chiron. Hey, Chiron. I just wanted to write instead of say. I know this might hurt, but I'm leaving, and I don't know when I'm coming back. Don't contact me until I'm ready to come back. Tell all the demigods and gods the same. Leave me alone. That's what I want. Thanks for your great training. Bye and farewell, Percy. Move. I reread the letters which I wrote in ancient Greek, then packed my bags and went out of my cabin. Nico ran into me. Oh my god. No, I am scared of what is gonna happen. Because this was written after Heroes of Olympus, so Nico is out. Let's keep going. Hey, where are you going, Percy? I looked at him, dead in the eye. I'm going home. Don't come or try to contact me. Go to Poseidon's cabin, I said, not wanting to call him Dad. I knew that this was a little mean, but I just knew that they're going to think I was crazy, insult me and say how good the gods are to us, and that I should be grateful. No one would ever say that. They've been through the same shit that you've been, Percy. No one would say that. We're basically slaves to these gods. We save them and work for them, and in return we get to keep living our lives. That's not a deal, and that's nothing to be grateful for. God, the living one, God of the Christians, doesn't ask for anything. He doesn't ask you to sacrifice him. He just asks you for your trust, love, and faith. If you ask for something, he'll give it to you if it's something in his plan for you. There is no working for him stuff. Nico looked at me, rage flashing through his eyes. He stomped away. My heart ached. I don't want to hurt them, but I knew I couldn't stay here. Camp was too different. My view changed when I became Christian. I needed time. What couldn't they understand? I walked out of camp and drove to Manhattan. Soon I arrived to Mom's apartment. Don't ask the address, because that's just so stalker-like. So random. I knocked on the door, not knowing what she would react like. The door opened. Now this is something I would have never guessed. Mom squealed and hugged me. Percy, is that you? I nodded and smiled and she kissed my face. I laughed as she screamed. Paul, Estelle, come here, Percy's home. Isn't Estelle like a baby? Estelle ran to the door, I guess not, and hugged me when she saw me. Paul also hugged me once he ran to the door. Once we went to the living room, I sat on the sofa. So Percy, why'd you leave camp? Mom asked, Paul nodding in agreement. I found a book on my night table after the whole dirt face war. It was a Bible? I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I started reading it and I became a Christian. I chose to leave camp because I don't agree with the terms and rituals. Sally smiled and looked at Paul. To change your mind is possible. Let's all go look for a church and see what really made your mind change. I grinned, which made Estelle laugh. Ha ha ha! Nico's point of view! I was enraged. After everything, Percy just goes and asks of no connection with us. He said something about his cabin. I gathered the 7, Talia and Rena. We went to his cabin and saw 3 envelopes. They were labeled Talia, Nico, and the 7, Annabeth, and Chiron. I gave Annabeth hers, and the rest of us looked at the letter, which was meant for us, and blah, 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 the same thing. Percy became Christian and abandoned us. Ugh, and wants us to break all connections. He is mad. We needed to tell the gods and Chiron about this. Annabeth whispered and broke down crying as she fell on her knees. I looked at her. ... Nico called us and said that Percy left, and he said to look in the Poseidon's cabin. We all ran to his cabin. There were 3 letters. I read the one dedicated to me. Blah, 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 copy and paste. Christianity, huh? I can't change Percy's mind because of his overly too big stubbornness, and he reads a book and his mind does change. I needed to read this Bible and see if any of this was right. Why is it always in quotations? I don't get it, but I'd do anything to be back with my seaweed brain. Oh my god, I think Annabeth's about to be converted. The rest left after I asked them to. I saw a book labeled The Holy Bible. Wonder what that might be. On Percy's bed. On the Percy's bed, which I hadn't seen before. Who the went into Percy's cabin and left the Holy Bible on his nightstand? It was beautiful. And it called me like I was supposed to read it. I sat down and flipped through it. It was exactly what changed Percy's mind. I'll always be with you, seaweed brain, I thought before digging into the first book, Genesis. And Annabeth will be converted as well. Good. Chapter 3, we meet again. Percy's point of view. It's been a week since I've become Christian and left camp. And trust me, it's worth it. Monsters don't attack, you don't get weird dreams, and you aren't taking off anything. Even my ADHD and dyslexia were not as effective. So, if you're a demigod, born from one of the Greek gods and a mortal parent, you are born with dyslexia and ADHD because of reasons to help you survive and to help you, read Greek. Sure, fine. But then if you become Christian, those things disappear and monsters don't smell you anymore. We found the cure. Don't go to camp, have blood to train, just read the freaking Bible. I was on my bed reading the third book, Leviticus, I know that one. I was on chapter 8. Anyway, I heard a loud knock on the door. I ran upstairs shouting, "Coming!" Oh, why are you shouting? Mom wasn't home. She was at work. I opened the door. It was Annabeth smiling and holding up. Was that a Bible? Annabeth? I stuttered out. Hey, Percy. I started reading the day you left. I feel much better. I also left today after starting to read. Monsters, the whole Greek world literally disappeared from my life. It stopped attacking. She shouted happily, "It stopped attacking! And I'm Christian now too, because of your previous too stubborn personality." I chuckled and welcomed her inside. Annabeth's point of view. "So, where are you staying, at the moment?" he asked. "In the hotel, with the money I had. It's great, but, it's starting to run out. So I'm planning on working in a history museum as an interior designer and an architect to help make it cooler and more interactive," says a 17-year-old. He nodded in approval. "So you work?" I asked. "Well, I'm planning on working in a marine world aquarium, which is famous. I'm planning on working there as a person who leads tourists and visitors around, as well as a feeder. I'm also moving apartments to be closer to there. I'm already put my name on it. And apparently they hired me 2 hours later. Apparently. I'll move to be closer to work. And I found a church which we are planning on going tomorrow, since tomorrow is Sunday." I smiled in approval and pride of him. I was about to say something when he asked, "Want to stay with me?" "Oh, of course you can say no, but it's going to be easier. We both pay half the price for the apartment, and we can live together there." He started out smiling. I smiled. It was just so cute. "Living in sin, huh, Percy?" "Yeah, Percy, great idea. Where are you moving?" "Well, about 5 kilometers. Did a European write this? Oh, I can tell. About 5 kilometers from here, high up in a quite large apartment. Oh, and I'm planning on working from home for marine biology data. What the hell? Since that's part of my work. Oh, and it's a large, famous history museum," he said as I nodded. What the hell? "Okay. Well, are you moving? Because I'm going to your place." I laughed as I saw his very excited face. "Next week. I already chose an apartment. Hopefully the other demigods won't try finding us. Oh, and there's a very expensive restaurant near the apartment where I'm going to sign up for working more money and we can live quite freely." How many jobs does he have? "And then along my work, I'll train to become a counselor, like talk with kids and help them in a mental way." Are you going to study psychology? You need to get a degree for this. "Then we can both work in the farm during free time." What farm? What farm? "The museum won't take all day, neither will counseling. Same for you?" He smiled and nodded. Then there was a knock on the door. What is happening? I opened the door with Annabeth behind me. Nico was there, glaring at me. "And what do you think you're doing?" He growled and barged in. "Nico," I said in a low voice, but Annabeth smiled and she put a hand on my shoulder. "He said not to try to contact him. Any contact. And you can't just barge into the house." She screamed the last part. Nico looked taken aback. Rightfully so. "After everything, you just leave the Greek world, huh?" I nodded confidently, like Annabeth, who looked fiercely. "Fine, do what you want, but we're not on your side, and expect some hunting happening with you guys. The gods want you before them soon, but the demigods will get you. The hunters might." "They're not gods," Annabeth screamed as he slammed the door. We looked at each other. We might not get out of this alone. We went to my room, sat on the bed, connected our hands together, and prayed for protection and help. What is gonna happen? They're gonna hunt them down. I knew Talia was going to come in and try hunting us. Today, Annabeth and I are going to move, and I'm planning on proposing to her. I saw a moving truck parked in front of the building. We started carrying and dragging the boxes as close to the door as possible, and the delivery people took into the truck. We ordered all the beds, tables, and so on, so they will be delivered to our new apartment today. We walked into the apartment, Annabeth smiling in pleasure. Wow, we could do so much around here, she said, hugging me. We starting with the bedroom. Once we get married, we'll move into the same room, but the Bible says no sex before marriage, so now we're not going to do that. We took a large beige carpet and placed it on the floor, then put a double bed. So they have one large bed for when they get married. And then they have like 2 beds for each of them before they get married. And then this is just giving like a tour of the apartment. Then we called Sally. Hey mom, hey Percy. Please, if anyone comes in and asks where I am, don't say a word. After a little bit of the conversation, I gathered my strength and stopped Annabeth. She looked at me, confused. Annabeth Chase, will you marry me? I said, bending on one knee. She jumped up and squealed. I put the ring on it. She hugged me and cried, shouting, yes, 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 a lot of times. I grinned in the light and happiness. Now that one's happy girlfriend. No, fiance. Then we fell on our sofa and turned on the TV. Okay, so not much happened there. Chapter number 5. Hate. Nico's point of view. You know, I think this is kind of targeted, the fact that they made Nico the villain when Nico is not even Percy's best friend. I wonder why that is. I couldn't believe that Annabeth and Percy would leave us like that. How dare he do that? After everything, he just leaves us like trash and asks us to stay away. That fool and idiot. How, you know what? I'm putting the hunters on them, choosing one god over the Greek gods. Hey Neeks, where's Percy and Annabeth? Talia said, running to me. They're not demigods anymore, I stated. What do you mean, Nico? Of course they are. I shook my head. They chose Christianity and one God over the ones they saved. I trailed off, glaring at the floor. She choked. What? She said after a coughing fit. Don't ask me, but Percy started this, I said, shrugging. I'll go inform Milady, Artemis, and get the hunt on it. Okay, imagine if Annabeth and Percy just left. Not because of Christianity, just because they're tired. And everyone's like, well, guess we gotta hunt them down and kill them now. I am the gods and tell them. I guess that means Iris' message. We lost our hero into mortal religions. She spat religions. She ran off towards the hunters. I am the gods. Nico, why are you calling us Zeus? Sorry, Lord Zeus, but Percy isn't with us anymore. He became Christian and all. We're sending the hunt on him. Annabeth's with him too, by the way. Athena growled in anger at the same time as Poseidon turned red. Thank you, son of Hades, said Zeus, clenching his teeth in anger, and nodded and swiped through the message. Talia ran up to me. We're going to Sally's now. Both of us. Just the 2 of us. Now. I nodded, and Shadow troubled us to a near empty place near Sally's. When we arrived, we rang the doorbell and she let us in. Is it possible to meet Percy? I asked politely. Sorry, he's, busy, she answered. Really, this is urgent. We need to kill him. He's Christian. We want answers, said Talia smoothly. Oh, wait a second. She's walked to the kitchen, obviously trying to avoid us, blah, blah, blah. Want some cookies? No, we need Percy, Talia growled, taking out a knife. She put her hands up. He doesn't want to be found. Just leave him alone, she shouted, taking out a knife from the drawer. Talia grabbed Estelle, who walked into the room and put the knife at her throat. Where is Percy? She growled. I smirked. Let her go. You wouldn't do this, please, she stuttered, tears gathering in her eyes. I smiled sickly. Answer the question then, Sally. He's... address. Thank you, we said at the same time. You devil's demons, she growled through her tears. I shrugged it off, even though it did hurt to see one of the nicest people I know say that to me. We went to Percy's house. We put a cup each to the door, listening to everything. We heard music, Percy's and Annabeth singing, blah blah blah, some Christian song. We looked at each other. Talia looked plain confused, looking at me. I cleared my throat and knocked on the door. We quickly threw the cups away. Percy, why did they have cups in the first place? Percy opened the door with Annabeth nowhere to be found. Oh, it's you, Percy said, emphasizing the you. Surprisingly, not using any hate or anger in his voice. Oh, it's you. Hello, can we talk? I asked, smiling. No one who threatens my sister is welcome in this home. Stay out. I peeked inside. It was beautiful. Talia also looked in awe. Percy, what's happening? Who's there? Annabeth's voice was heard shouting, Percy, what's happening? Who's there? Nothing, wise girl, just Nico and Talia, Percy shouted back with a smile. Why, people just don't talk here, they just shout. Why is he not angry? We're trying to kill him. We threatened, hunted, and all that to him. Why are you not angry? Talia said, voicing my thoughts. The Bible says otherwise. Being angry or hating someone is the same as killing that person. Makes sense. Besides, that's a sin, he said in a duh but happy voice. I just stared. Anyways, what do you want? He said as Annabeth came to view. Oh, it's you, she sighed. Annabeth, you're doing a mistake. A big one. Talia started. No, I've never felt happier or freer in my life. I have a home, a life which I always wanted. What sort of friend would take that away from me? I always wanted one. Now God showed me his mercy and gave me a home with the one I loved. She said, sadness in her voice. You're trying to take everything away from me. Something I always wanted. The gods aren't gods to me anymore. You can't change that, she said, shaking her head as Percy put her arm around her, comforting her. I got way too deep into that. Fine, you don't have a friend from us. Both of us in the camp, Scots and all, Talia said, turning around. We sat on the step and heard Annabeth singing. A song I've never heard before. I sighed. Guess they just made a life away from us after everything. Talia literally threatened to cut Percy's younger sister's throat open. But then they go to their apartment and they're just like, well, guess they're happy now. Let's leave them alone. You threatened to kill Estelle. Live up to that. Try to kill them as well. I was picking these based on length, and I didn't notice this was 40 minutes long to read. And I'm reading it out loud, so this is gonna be a two-parter. Please leave a like if you liked that video. Comment down below what was your favorite part of that fanfic, and if you have any fanfics that you want me to read, and maybe I'll do so in another videos. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and click that bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. I post videos just like this every single Friday, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!